This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Man, watching the Masters right now. Crazy ending. A lot of drama.
Couldn't care less.
Well, you're not a golf guy, so
Neither are you.
What do you mean I'm not a golf guy? I play golf. I'm a golfer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have my own clubs and everything.
What's your handicap?
I don't have a handicap. I don't
I'll
play.
bet you I could beat you at golf.
No, you couldn't.
Okay.
No
All right,
chance.
we might have to put that in sometime.
You
don't even know what your handicap is?
I know what I hit for 18. I can
What do
tell
you
you
hit?
that. I'm probably for a legit 18 holes. I could probably hit around 100 to 105 for 18.
Oh, I'm in the game. I'm in
No.
the game big time. I got game in golf, son.
You couldn't
I
beat
just
me.
don't
in golf.
golf. Okay, all right. Well,
I mean,
we might have to see. Is there a golf course in this Tournament of Champions in Ohio? Somebody
gonna-
asked Tommy Jones. Somebody asked EJ Tackett, where's the nearest golf course? Should I bring? I don't even have clubs. Can I borrow somebody's clubs? Ask if I could borrow EJ Tackett's clubs. No, actually, I want Tommy Jones's clubs. I want Tommy Jones. Tommy, can I borrow your clubs, bro?
I live in Scottsdale, Mike, the golf capital of the world. So
Oh, look, people are saying Firestone Country Club. What's up? Who's getting us in? Who's getting us on the course? Am I allowed to wear Nike Jordan basketball shorts and Jordans while I play at this country club? Let me know.
I don't think anybody's gonna say anything to you, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't beat me in golf.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'll tell you what. We need to meet up at the mountains sometime soon, and me and you will have that match. Okay.
How about
If we do, I'm going to tell you something. I'm coming out in the Payne Stewart pants. Okay. You remember the Payne Stewart pants?
I do. It's like Joe Palooza
God
pants,
rest
right?
his soul. God rest his soul. Payne Stewart died in a crazy plane. You remember that? He died in a plane crash where the plane just kept going until it ran out of fuel. That was absolutely crazy. But I'm rocking the Payne Stewart pants if we get a match in. I'm just letting you know. But
Isn't
you
that
better
like-
come better than 105. I'm going to tell you that.
Isn't that Joe Palooza pants, Payne Stewart? Doesn't he wear some
No. That was John Daly for a while, wasn't it?
on Daly? Yeah.
They wore the
Yeah.
same, the loudmouth pants. I don't think they're even around anymore. But
So ask Bill.
Payne Stewart had the Johns that like tucked up by his knees. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring it up. Bring up a picture for the people. Bring up a picture for the young bulls who may not have seen. And then he had like the high socks. I mean, man's dressed like it was 1800s. Let's be clear. I mean, he was hitting the golf course in the 90s like it was the 1800s. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
why don't you ask Bill about have you ever played golf with Bill?
No, I don't think we've ever played. No.
Oh,
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate golf.
I know you
hate
do.
it. I do not understand people's love of golf. Oh yeah. Can we zoom in on that at all?
Yeah.
That's what I'm coming out looking like. If I play you, I'm coming out with the socks pulled all the way up over the calves, bro. Pants hanging at my knees. Okay, Payne Stewart style. All right. My man had style. Okay, he didn't care what you thought. He didn't care. He had style.
It's
All right. You could take it down. I just want
Anyway.
to see.
it's a terrible website.
No, I've never played golf with Bill. And I guess when I was into golf, he was not. And then when he got into golf, I was not. You know, but yeah, I was into golf for a long time. I even tried out for my high school golf team. Didn't make it because they were really good. But yeah, I was, you know, at one time I played golf quite a bit. But yeah,
I played for my high school team. I played. I was not very good, but a New York City high school golf team isn't exactly gonna beat the preppy Staten Island high schools who played golf all the time.
Okay.
Crazy to say, right? But yeah, I wasn't very good, but I played a lot when I was younger. So I would ask Bill if he what um, his opinion of my golf game, and I guarantee you, he'd tell you that you probably will lose.
Okay. I had
So
I had some kind of argument with him and Todd and Sean at door. I think it was over New Year's, or it might have been over the summer, or maybe it was Ryan who was there, not Sean. But I was arguing with them in some way about being able to go out and break 100 on their course at the Mountain House, and they were like, "No way!" No. But listen, none of yous know none of yous know that I can play golf. The last time I golfed, it was a family golf outing where my family got together, all the guys on the family, my cousins and uncles and everything. We went to golf. No lie, I came within 3 feet of a hole in one. Okay, so like I'm not playing around on the golf course. Okay, but am I a regular golfer? No, the last time I golfed was probably 8 years ago. But I don't care. I'll pick up the sticks. I've been to what's it called? Top Golf a few times. Okay.
there you go. That'll do it. Blake writes, "Can't believe you guys are going live while the Masters is still going on."
Oh,
Blake,
who
this
cares?
is a bowling podcast.
I
This
don't want
ain't a
to.
golf
All
podcast.
right, we're gonna end the golf talk right here, and I didn't even tell you this early in the week. I didn't even tell you this. This is you might throw up all over your computer when I tell you this. Who led the first round of the Masters this year? Was it Justin Rose? Is that
Yeah,
who it was? Okay.
it was.
Dan Dunleavy, the best bowling better in the world, maybe the best obscure sport better in the world. Put and now I have to clarify that this was a no sweat free bet token. So if he lost this bet, as I understand it, he got a free bet in the same amount. Okay, he bet 500 on Justin Rose to lead the first round. He hit for 40 grand, 40,000. Okay, it went viral. You could go check out the betting sites out there. Okay,
What? Why would he bet that? Why?
he said that Justin Rose had led the Masters on day one a few times, and he was kind of just throwing stuff out there. Again, it was a $500 no sweat bet or something. I think was the
Wow,
title of it.
that's
So
pretty
yeah,
insane.
500 into 40,000. Shake it off.
Pretty insane.
I mean, that's crazier than the 15 grand bowling bet he hit a few weeks ago.
He's
Nice
running
month
hot.
though. Nice month. 55,000 in gambling wins.
He's running hot right now.
I know.
That's crazy. Uh, anyway, all right. Enough of the golf talk. I did see J.R. Raymond's post. I did share it because he's 100% like right on the ball about the comparison, or I should say lack of comparison between shows, between golf and bowling. That's a whole podcast, I think, that me and Mike could probably talk about. But we got a lot going on. There is players show. There's some vaping drama all week.
Can we get to that first?
Okay.
Can we get that out of the way? No
Sure.
league report this week. Okay. No league. I'm sorry. I've been disappointing the people. I apologize to you all. I know that's why you come here every week to hear about my exploits in the local sport league. I haven't been there in a few weeks. I'm not going to be there again this week. But after this week, I will be back. I will be back with league reports for the rest of the season, I'm hoping. So just be aware. So this is the lamest shit ever. Okay? Let me be clear. This is remember the song What's Beef?
Yeah, Biggie.
This is the opposite of that. Okay? This is what's cornball. Okay? I mean, come on. Please. Bowling doesn't look Bowling. Oh, I don't even want to know what word I want to use. I want to curse right now. Bowling doesn't look bad enough. We got to go and give people more of a reason to make us the butt of a joke. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm done after this because I ain't even talking about this. The PBA needs to go the opposite way. Okay. Not only do I want to see Belmo with a vape out on the lanes while he's bowling, okay, on the show. I want to blow in clouds of smoke on the show while he's coming back from commercial break. Okay. I don't even care. I don't even care if it's a weed vape. Even better. Even better, as a matter of fact. Okay. Guys want to drink. I want to let them drink. Okay. If a guy wants to get hammered before the show comes on, let him get hammered before the show comes on. As long as they're not, you know, getting out of control as a result of it, and I mean completely out of control, maybe it would liven up the environment a little bit.
I'm kind of like thinking that bowling has bigger issues right now, and if with all this TV deal cloud above the PBA right now, the last thing the PBA really needs is some kind of unnecessary drama in a way, and I do feel like it there. I saw Lucas Wiseman's tweet yesterday about having no winners, and I mean I agree with it. I mean, in a sense where this is a lose-lose for like the whole situation. I know Rash has been taking a lot of heat online. Belmo's taking heat online. It's more of where people's agendas lie. It's like, are you Team Rash or Team Belmo? And if you don't like Belmo, you're using this as an excuse to get on Belmo about an accusation, essentially. Which, from what I read, Jeff Riggles had a really good article on 11 Frame, like laying out some of the details. And ultimately, I reached out to Tom Clark to ask him, and I was curious more for anything. And really, I told him like, hey, like we're going to be talking about this, and I just kind of want to know your side of it because I mean, we all read Rash's social media post, and I'm going to read what Tom Clark said to me, what he wrote to me. He wrote, it really, no one turned him in. There was other than an accusation by Rash who had no evidence, and there was no evidence. Questioned Belmo 3 times. He denied Rash's accusation. There was only circumstantial evidence that there was not enough to DQ, but Belmo was disciplined and warned. Subsequently, the unfortunate social media post by Sean Rash was misleading, harmful to the PBA and its players, and misguided. The language Rash used of appalling and indefensible behavior was uncalled for and inane. The amount of rumors and comments due to the post accusing other players of infractions or of Belmonte vaping in the Septi area or accusations of the PBA favoring players with selective enforcements are all baseless. And then he defended Tony Lanning's that he handled it the best way possible. So take that for what it is. People are asking, well, why isn't Belmonte being DQ'd? It's because of exactly what Tom Clark said to me. Accusations and nothing was proven, and it was all accusations and baseless. So, yeah, I mean, if I could also understand Rash's side of it because Rash is very by the rules. Obviously, there was a lot of urethane drama that he called out prior to anybody even knowing about the urethane, which he ended up being correct about in a way. And if he and a couple of other players saw him vaping in the paddock, then they reported him because he's not supposed to be doing that. It's a PBA rule. It's been strictly enforced. there was some players at some regional that got caught on a camera from the bowling center that got DQ'd from a regional. I read that post. But ultimately, there was some type of video evidence, but the video evidence that was sent was it wasn't showing Belmo to be vaping. It was not something that they could use against him in a way. So, yeah, take it for what it is, guys. I think with these last 2 weeks, especially with the Hall of Fame dinner coming up this week, and the Tournament of Champions and the players, and then this whole TV deal kind of looming, I think like bowling has bigger issues to worry about at this point.
John in the chat is asking, why was Belmo disciplined and warned if he did nothing wrong? So he wasn't disciplined. He was reminded of the policy. And I mean, what it boiled down to, if you heard Rob review Tom Clark's comments, is that there was no proof.
Well, no, you're incorrect, because Tom said there was only circumstantial evidence, not enough to DQ, but Belmo was disciplined / warned.
Well, what does that mean, though?
It means he was talked to. He just said, hey, someone said they saw you vaping. We can't prove it. You say you didn't do it, but FYI, like, here's the rule, and you shouldn't do it, essentially.
Right. So that's not really disciplined. I mean, that might be the wording of what they're saying because they want it to be worded that way, but that's not really being disciplined, if we're being honest about it.
Yeah, discipline. I mean, discipline could mean a lot. Like, you discipline one of your students.
Yeah, it's a
right?
very.
It's
I mean,
yelling at them.
if I call a kid outside and talk to them in the hallway, that's disciplining.
Disciplining them,
You
right?
know, so yeah, it's a very broad term. Okay. The other thing that rubs me the wrong way about this is, like, you know, is this the way that the guys on tour want to treat each other? Is this the kind of environment they want to create out there, where everybody's constantly looking to get something on somebody else?
Ooh, I like that. Let's talk more about that.
Because honestly, like, Rob, you and I know quite a few of these people personally.
100%.
Okay, and almost overwhelmingly, they're good people, good guys, you know. But that's not to say that they're always doing the right thing. Okay, and like, there are things that fall outside of something like vaping that, to me, are much more serious red flags of character, okay, or red flags of even behavior that no one would bat an eyelash at, right? So I don't think this is a road they want to go down. You know, I don't think anybody wants to be bowling out there with an environment where it's like, oh, everybody's watching everything everybody else does and trying to get people disqualified for any little infraction that they. I mean, it's it just shouldn't be that way. And my point before, somebody said it in the chat. I don't want people to mistake what I'm saying. I'm being a little bit I'm exaggerating a bit, but my point before in letting the guys do what they want is that it might make the shows and the competition more authentic to who they really are. You know, do I think that they should be, doing these things in front of young fans and things? No, I'm talking about in the locker room, in the privacy of the locker room. You know, that's it. The locker room is the locker room. That's the player's space. The players should be able to do whatever they want there. Once they come outside and the fans are there, especially the young fans, then yes, they should probably try and present the best example of who they are. Right? I agree with that, but I do think allowing them to be who they are a little bit more might open some of these guys up to being more of who they are when they're competing, and I think that's something that we need. What's up, Sean?
Do you
Rash is in the
remember?
chat. If
Do
you
you
want to
remember?
come on and talk about it, hit us up, Hoss. You know you always have a platform here whenever you want. So
Do you remember back when we were younger and
we're
used
not
to go?
talking about me, Lou. We're not talking about me, okay?
Well, do you remember when we were younger and we used to go to Carolier to watch the Pros Bowl? We were like 15, 16 years old, and you go to the bar and you would see like all kinds of pros just not wearing name shirts because you couldn't do it with your name shirts on. But I specifically remember, if anybody remembers Dave the Entremont, I watched Dave the Entremont put down all kinds of alcohol, right, during like a C block or after he's done bowling. Maybe he didn't bowl well, right? I'd watch all kinds of 80s tour guys, 90s tour guys that we all remember that were on the shows, off the books, in the bar, hanging out, drinking, smoking, and it was interesting part of conversation as a younger kid. And we used to be like, man, like this guy was just hammered, like at the bar, right? Like, and it's just interesting how times have changed. I think a little bit, right? Where you can't like do a lot of the things now that you could have done back in the 80s and 90s, or if you do it and people hear about it through social media, there's videos everywhere, right? So as a pro, you got to be really careful of what you do these days, and because it's so much easier to get out. But you would never find a video of like these pros in 90s and 80s like hammered at a bar because there weren't phone videos back then, right? So like it was a lot more freedom to do what these guys wanted to do. But anyway,
Well, I mean, again, the locker room, the locker room. You know, tell,
yeah.
don't all professional sports kind of have like a closed door policy in the locker room at some point? I know reporters go in there and whatnot, but it's the locker room, man. Like,
You want to know who's someone who's got some stories about pros in the 80s and 90s and what people used to do outside the lanes? My man Rudy in the chat has got stories. I guarantee you he's got more stories than anybody about some of the crazy shit that was going on behind the scenes at some of these tour events, as
oh my
well as
goodness,
just bowling. Um,
oh my
but
goodness,
anyway,
the chat is popping. The chat is popping right now. Charlie Tapp says Dave Giantremont like the toddy. Sibo, what's up, man? He says that he would have talked to the person face to face. I feel you on that. Tim Foy, nice run today.
come
Great,
on,
great
man.
season.
Yo, we got to get my guy Tim a title, man. He's so
Tim,
close
we were
right now.
riding you from the jump today. Just want to let you know
From the
that.
jump.
Tim Foy is a dog. That's the phrase around here.
We were
Okay,
like,
Tim
dude,
Foy is a dog.
we are not betting against Tim Foy, and man, like it'll man, you'll get some breaks. It'll happen. Just keep putting yourself in that position, bro.
And honestly, you know, Mr. Revs brings up Ethan Fiore's performance today, and we're eventually going to get to that. We kind of just started on this just because we're going to get it out of the way before we actually start talking about bowling. You know, and that's another point here is that all this does is nonsensically detract from what the real conversation should be. You know, yeah, quite frankly, some of these guys should worry less about vaping or who's vaping and who's not vaping and worry more about striking because these young bulls are bringing it to them. Okay, the young bulls are bringing it to them. You know, outside of EJ Tackett, obviously, but so yeah. Listen, I mean, it's nonsensical to me. Come on, guys. Let people be who they want to be. You do you. Let other people do them. I get it. You know, in competition, outside the paddock, outside the locker room, okay. You know, so and I know, I know that Belmo is someone who has very high standards for how professional bowlers should act and interact in front of and with fans. Okay, I know that. I know that for a fact. Okay, I have had conversations with him about that topic. So I understand when you understand that. I think it's the locker room. So I'm going to end it there. That's it. You have anything else to say, or can we move on to talking about actual bowling?
We can talk about actual bowling.
Okay, let's talk about bowling. Oh, it was a weird show today. Is that fair to say?
Weird show today. Yesterday was also a little bit weird in the sense of, I think, the pattern and how it played.
The pins too. The pins. I thought the pins definitely played into the results maybe not of overall, but of shots here and there. Definitely. Very, very strange. Just very strange. Strange reaction of the pins. Sometimes I felt.
Yeah, and I'm glad at least they recognized it on the show, and Randy talked about how they were synthetic pins, because it did sound different. And as bowling fans who watch all the time, it definitely was curious to why the pins sounded that way. So I'm glad they addressed it and they at least talked about it. I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's show. And I know we're going to give our tournament awards, in a few minutes here. But man, what a gutsy performance by Kevin McCune. I mean, really, he ran the ladder. He beat Simo and Belmo in one show, which is no easy task. And
he should win a title just for that.
Was dead to rights in the one match that he bowled, and found a way to strike out in the 10th.
Sterner.
Force Sterner to, I believe, to throw the first one or double.
Right.
And he forced him to throw, and, Sterner just kind of felt like he got around it a little bit, and the ball just never made it back. And man,
well, that was a collapse, if we're being honest. I mean,
from Sterner's end?
Oh yeah, to me that ranked up there with some of the all-time comebacks, if you want to put it that way, or collapses, if you want to put it another way, that we've seen on PBA shows. And I know, obviously it's not in the biggest spot because you're only bowling to get to the 5th seed of the next show. But that was a pretty big collapse, Hoss.
Yo, this is the reason why I hate these 9-person stepladder shows, because I do feel like Kevin McCune, like, he climbed the ladder to finish 5th, right? Like,
I know, but if they didn't do that, he never would have been on the show to begin with.
It's a fair point. But when you're watching it, you don't realize that, right? You're like, man, this kid climbed the ladder, and then he's got to do it again tomorrow. It's a interesting format. I'm not a huge fan of the 9-person stepladder, but I'm not going to complain about 2 live shows on 2 days either. When I think that next year at this time we're going to be maybe begging for a live show. But I think, like, shouts to Kevin McCune, man. I mean, he had a gritty performance yesterday, and he beats 2 of the literally best bowlers in the world to do it. Comes into today, and I wonder how much yesterday's performance and influenced Kevin McCune's first game where he bowled him, because he just didn't look the same. Obviously, he started with urethane, and yesterday he started with that Excel. And I mean, you talked before the show today, and I said, well, Kevin's look didn't look good on the fresh yesterday. In the first game, he didn't. He started out with a big split, whatever, and he starts with the urethane, and I can't fault him for it, man. But he made the switch back, and I think he made it quicker. But man, Tim's look with that urethane, with that black hammer, was just too good. And I don't think Kevin was going to lose that. I don't think Tim was going to lose that match. But I wonder how much of all that bowling yesterday really took out of Kevin today.
Well, clearly something different was happening with the transition of the lanes today too, because you saw Kevin throw reactive from the jump yesterday, and bowl really good with it too. That big four was one of the few exceptions in his shot making. And then today he comes out and he gets into urethane, and yeah, definitely didn't look as good, right? But and I'm not questioning his decision there. I'm just observing that something different had to be going on for him to make that change, right? Uh, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of weird shows, both of them. Like the first game out of the bat, McCune opens big four, and then what happens? Nick Pate goes up and goes open.
Yeah.
Nick Pate goes up. I mean, like, how many times do you see that?
Nope.
Today, then you have Sterner meltdown. You don't see that. You don't see a meltdown like that very often, right? Then you see Belmo, who usually is connecting the messengers like that. Okay, can't connect. Next thing you know, he's down. Okay. Then you go to the show today, and you got a lane breakdown. Never seen that on a show before.
It's been a while.
Okay, haven't seen that on a show in quite some time. Lane breakdown, and yeah, I definitely thought again there were a lot of crossovers, that really mattered in this show today. Uh, some questionable pinfall, I will say. I felt like there should have been a lot more splits on the show today than there were.
Well, it's funny because you pay attention to that when you're betting the under on a 2-game total, and when you really pay attention to the balls going through the nose that aren't splitting, because you're wondering why that's not splitting because you're betting the under. And that's kind of where we were. We were like betting the under for a lot of it. But one of those pattern, it's a weird pattern because they talked about it being 37 feet, being flatter, and the misses. It was easy to go Brooklyn because if you cut it short a little bit in the middle of the lane, it was going dead left.
Right.
The pattern was definitely just a harder pattern, right? Which it should be for a major. And you want to talk really hard. I mean, Mike, what about the lefties?
Nowhere to be found this week.
But, I mean, normally you get one or two in there, right? Like, when was the last time, and I'll throw this out to any bowling historian or, I know Lou Gaudio's in the chat. I know he's really smart when it comes to bowling. When was the last time that a lefty didn't make it or didn't finish in the top 43 of a tournament? Like one lefty. And there was some complaints online about it. And to a certain extent, I kind of think it's rightfully so. Mike, like, don't they have a legitimate gripe? And I know that the PBA will fine for complaints about lane conditions, right? We've known that for a while. But I do feel the lefties do have some sort of gripe with what was out there. And it was obvious looking at the standings. I mean, we'll talk dumpster diving, but man, I mean, some of the best lefties in the world were finishing 120th, 140th. And that's wild to me, how there wasn't one lefty in the top 43.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it a lot this season. The urethane is not as effective, and some of these guys are somewhat one-dimensional when it comes to the use of urethane. And yeah, I think it's making a big difference. But this week definitely stood out as wow. There's drastic difference.
Yeah. Anyway, so Foy's look in that first match looked great, but he was gonna get out of that urethane, right? And I know Tim's in the chat. He made a plan to get out of that urethane and had a pretty good look, right? he bowls Keplinger, right, in the next match. And that scores start to get high. I think the urethane did its job. They were able to at least create a decent look for themselves.
Yeah.
They were both able to move left. I just feel like ultimately Tim having that game under him, having a lot more TV experience in the past year, just played his benefit when it came to bowling someone like Keplinger, who hasn't really made a lot of shows. And bowling for a major, it's a different story. It's a whole different atmosphere bowling on TV for a major and not having that TV experience.
What Keplinger shoot? 2-teen?
It's a good question. I will look it up right now.
Yeah, I think it was like 2-teen, 214 or something, 213.
215. It was 247 and 215. Tim just had a really good look.
Keplinger could have shot about 180.
Oh, it's true too. Could have.
He could have. I mean, he had about 3 shots that could have been splits that were spares. So, again, I felt like that was sort of a weird game. All right, so then Foy goes on to bowl Barnes, right? And I can't explain what allowed him to do this. I would think it was the ball he was using, the surface he was using, and his ball speed, and probably his ability to roll it up the back as well. But Barnes made a really good decision on how to play the lanes in that game.
Yeah, I mean, he starts out front 6. And look, we've given Ryan Barnes a lot of slack in previous episodes for not performing on TV.
He was
And
ready today.
he was ready today. He had the game plan. They spoke about it on the commentary, and I think they did a good job in explaining that, where Ryan Barnes, even in or the last 8 games of match play, was playing that part of the lane when nobody else was. So it's interesting that he was able to do that. And I agree with you. It was just a lot of everything. But Bulls 264, which on that pattern, on that atmosphere, is pretty much unbeatable. Obviously, went Brooklyn in the 7th, but I don't really. It's interesting because he 210. Tim had a chance in that match. He did. I really believe that if Tim strikes out in that 9th and 10th frame to go 259, I don't think Ryan. I think it really puts the screws to Ryan to throw that first shot in the 10th. And I think it's a different match. And I think Tim left that bucket on that left lane. I think he maybe got it a little bit too far right. And the ball just kind of, I think it used a little bit too much energy and it just died and he bucketed. And I knew you could see it in Tim's reaction because after he threw that bucket, he knew that if he was able to get those first and second one, that he might have had a better chance of winning. And I really think he might have won that match if he goes 259. I do.
Yeah, I felt similarly. But credit to Ryan Barnes because to be able to come out and play them that way and have that kind of success early in that game, he was able to get away with that bad shot later in the game, right? Even though he had that bad shot, he was still in control after that bad shot, right? Because of the numerous good shots that he made leading up to that. So, okay, so then Barnes is going to go bowl Ethan Fury, right? And you kind of have 2 inexperienced guys, young guys, rookies if you want to call them that, I believe, bowling for a major title and $100,000. So pressure is high, anxiety is high, right? Stress level is high. And Fiore, again, heavily impressed. The last time we saw him on a show, he tied EJ Tackett and then threw like 8 strikes in a row to hang with Tackett.
Yeah, it was like 7 and then missed on the 8th. And they could have struck on the 8th too on that
He
roll up.
comes out today. He struggles in the first few frames. Doesn't seem like he's really got it in frames 1 through 3. And then the next thing you know, he's got like 7 in a row. Okay.
The ability, the physical talent of Ethan to be able to loft that front part of the lane and be able to still get the ball right, in my opinion, was the difference in that match. Ethan taking the front part of the lane out of play and also be able to get the two-handed to be able to get around it using a motive ball that is also it was a thrill, I believe, which is also a longer ball, right? It's not an early ball at all. He was able to take the front part out of the lane. He was able to get the ball projected where he needed to and still get his ball to finish and take the 10 out, right? It's interesting because after what Ryan did in the against Tim, you kind of were like, well, is that going to hold up? And I think we both agreed that it wasn't going to hold up. We had a conversation before the match started because we were figuring out who we were going to bet on, and we both agreed that I don't think Ryan is going to have that look in the final game. I didn't think he was going to bowl 170. I think he missed 2 spares. They were both 248s, but I didn't think he was going to bowl 170. I thought maybe he'd still have a good look, but man, Ethan Fiore is. I'm jealous of him in the way that he could compose himself under an extreme amount of pressure and make that shot that he did in the first one in the 10th frame. It didn't even look like it phased him. And even in his interviews, like with Kimberly, like before, like you can tell like he was pretty calm, which is it's just ingrained in some people. It's like some people just have that ability to just be able to like not have the pressure affect them as much as some other people. Like if you do a comparison of like other players in their first time on the shows, Ethan is just night and day different.
Well, I mean, compare him and Gary Haynes.
Yeah, 100%.
Gary Haynes couldn't pry it off his hand for 9 frames.
Right, and I think
Fury gets up there, struggles the first couple frames, has all the makings of like he's going to fall apart and just give it to Ryan Barnes. And honestly, and I'm not comparing him to this person. Let me be clear, but that game that he bowled today reminded me a lot of EJ Tackett in terms of not so great, not so great. Oh, now I'm going to throw 7 in a row at you. Like let your opponent believe they're in it, and then the next thing they know they're out of it.
I really think that we've given Motive a lot of shit in the past, but I think we really need to give credit to also Brett Spangler, right? For being there in this kid's corner, talking through him like on these shots, being able to keep his just. There is a lot behind the scenes that I think a lot of people don't see, and I think Brett has obviously they've been doing an amazing job this year, like in general, like getting their balls to win tournaments. Yes, it helps to have EJ, but it's not only just EJ, right? They had Santu won a title this year, Mike. Like Ethan won a major now. Like I don't think Brett gets a lot of credit that he deserves.
Ethan Fiore, man.
Good for that kid. He's a likable kid. I mean, yes, like I know there was some comments in the chat about like showing more emotions, and I mean that's the reason why some of these bowlers are so great is because they're able to keep their emotions in check. And people like me and you are doing a podcast not winning major titles because our emotions would be completely off the freaking like Richter scale, like if we were bowling, right? And I think that's why they're able to do what they do. Like, and it's just
I'm just super impressed, and I think a lot about these young guys like Simo, like EJ, like Ethan Fury, like I mean, there's others too, right? But I'll throw those three names out there. Who, well, Eric Jones. I mean, the list goes on. Right? There's
Right.
a lot of good young bowlers that have come up in the last few years who are competing at the absolute highest level, and they're so young. They're so young, and like it really, and people are going to get mad that I associate it with this idea, but to me, it makes me think about the fraudulence of the recreational house shots. Okay, because whoever your good junior bowlers are that are bowling on recreational house shots, and that's where they're learning. That's how they're coming up in the game. Okay, that's how they're being introduced to the game. That's how they're developing their style of play. Right? They don't have a chance. They don't have a chance against someone like an Ethan Fiore or a Simo or a Tackett or these young guys who just seem to have come up where their standard for what a good shot is already where it needs to be to compete at the highest levels in the world. And that's just mind blowing to me because and a lot of it has to do with our experience in bowling, right? I mean, because when we were 16 or 17, I mean, yes, we encountered some tougher house shots here and there, but for the most part, most of what we bowled on was pretty wide open and easy. You know, guys were whacking them. I mean, averaging 230 for a qualifying block. Shooting 300s, 800s. I mean, this wasn't unheard of.
See, I grew up in just
No,
the
you grew up at the same time I did. We
yeah, but I
graduated high
bowled
school the same year.
yeah, but I bowled in these dungeons in Brooklyn. Like I
So did
bowled
I,
the
but
whole
I'm not
Brooklyn.
talking about that. I'm talking across the board. Like you're right that you bowled and look, the guys who bowled in the dungeons were often the best bowlers. What does that tell you? Because
Oh,
their standard for what a quality shot was or what they had to do to strike was much higher than guys who were bowling on easier synthetics, brand new synthetics that were bowling on them
So
all the time. I mean,
I gotta jump in here because as you are making your point, which is well said, if you guys have a chance, go back and listen to our interview when we had Jillian Martin on.
yep,
Dude, that is the prime example of what you're talking about. Jillian Martin is, in my opinion, probably one of the best woman bowlers out there right now, and she's not hasn't even finished college yet. She's literally, I think, in her like second year of college, right? And when she's talking about her practice and what she's doing to prepare, she says, I don't know, what did she say? She hasn't bowled in the house shot in like forever. Like she's never bowled in the house shot. Like that's so you want to you have if you're a parent right now and you have a kid who wants to be a professional or wants to take their game to the next level, go back and watch that interview we did with Jillian Martin. Like she'll give you her play-by-play book on like how like what she does, like on how good she got. And it's all about being able to grow up and that's why I think you seeing guys like Ethan Fiore, Ryan Barnes, Jillian Martin, I mean, we talk about Dio Bernard, Eric Jones, all these kids because they have that same mindset as Jillian Martin when we talk to her. Ryan Barnes, I mean, Wichita College, right? I'm sure they have an amazing practice facility. I can't imagine Chris being his dad and being like, oh well, hey, like, uh, let's keep putting him on the house shot. Like I'm pretty sure they're not preparing like when they were younger. But it's a good point, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of kids that are more pro ready at an earlier age than you did maybe back when we were young, 80s, 90s. I didn't see a real legit sports shot. I don't think. I mean, a purpose hard shot. See, that was the difference between when we grew up. We were bowling in dungeons.
speak on it, son.
we bowled on dungeons. I bowled in the dungeons in Brooklyn, but those weren't purposely made hard, right? They were hard because the bowling center lane surfaces were wood and they were from the 40s and 50s.
Speak on it, son.
They never stripped. They stripped once a month. But they weren't purposely making them hard. I didn't really bowl on a purposely hard shot until the high roller, right? My first time bowling on a sweeper at a high roller, if anybody remembers those sweepers in the late 90s or mid 90s, they were short and they were flat. And you're sitting there bowling, used to bowling on these house patterns that have no stripping over a month of non-stripping to now you're bowling on a 33-foot flat strip pattern. You had no idea what the hell was happening with that ball was hooking and picking three off the left when you missed left. Completely different ball game. I mean, it took me years of me physically having to adjust my game to learn that side. And I think even like you could look at Bill O'Neill's transition to when he was younger to when he is now. And he had to physically also change his game because he grew up on the same shit we grew up on bowling. And then all of a sudden you're watching your ball hook at 35, 40 feet. And you're like, holy crap, we're not even on the same planet.
And now the young guys are.
Right. 100%.
They're bowling on that from when they're really young.
It makes you think, though, imagine if when we were younger and we were in our teens, if we were able to grow up on those anvils and those synthetics and be able to put out sport shots and be able to really practice on it, how many more titles would someone like Bill O'Neill have?
Well, I think what you would have seen back then is guys like Bill and you and others that we knew and bowled with and against
have more success.
Would have made that jump earlier.
100%.
They would have made that jump earlier. They would have been bowling. You know, it's also a combination of these young kids being able to bowl whatever they want, right, and sign a waiver. That has a lot to do with it too, obviously. But it's funny that you say the first time you saw a hard quote unquote pattern was at the high roller. The first time I ever experienced someone purposefully doing the lanes in a way to make them hard was at I forget the guy's name that used to run these events. I think it was Joe Vazzi was his name, and that might have not been it. He ran a heavy pit event at Carolier every year, and it was the same guy. I forget what his name was, but yeah, he sprayed the outside of the lane with a spray bottle, and then he just did the first part of the middle of the lane, and he actually let me go and bowl on one of the pairs that they weren't going to use, but they did, and they just wanted to see who it was, you know, what they rolled like. John Vargo, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Revs. Yeah, and I had it in. My coach knew John Vargo. They were cool, and we went to this bowling center where he was holding a tournament, and they sprayed the outside and they brushed the middle a little bit, and they told me, "Yeah, here, get your stuff, go down, throw some shots over here. We want to see what the ball does." And I just remember being like, "Yo, this is just crazy." Right, but
yeah, that's funny. It's like Rudy's in the chat, and I can't wait to get him on the show, and we'll get him on. Where he grew up bowling in the dungeons where I grew up, and you know, obviously he was before my time, but I think if he was able to see a lot of the tour patterns when he was growing up, you would have saw a lot more success on the national tour. But when you grow up bowling in the dungeons and they're not stripping and you're doing all kinds of stuff trying to make your ball hook, and then all of a sudden you get on tour and there's fresh, like, you know, stripping and you're watching your ball hook in the back end, it's a whole different ball game, and you have to change your physical game. And we saw that with Bill O'Neill. We did. Bill changed his rev rate and softness of his hand and everything he did physically. He had to Fagan too. But I mean, we could get into it. But anyway, we got a lot more to talk about.
One more point about that quickly. And I don't know if you'll agree with me on this or not, but back when we were coming up, there wasn't even the technological capability to put out patterns like they're putting out today. Okay, so they've become a lot harder over the years. So again, there's a bigger gap of difference now between where the one side is and where the other side is. So if you're on this harder side as a younger bowler and you're mastering these things at an early age, then yes, that's why you're going to see what we're seeing.
Yep.
And I got into an argument not long ago with a local bowler around here who's a legendary local bowler, and he was saying to me like, oh, a lot of the tournaments that I bowled and won in the '90s were on hard patterns, and I was like, no, not like the ones they're putting out today. Like they might have been tough, a tough house, like you were saying, a tough house. You had to play them a certain way or manipulate the ball in a certain way, right? But today it's so technical. It's so down to the, technicality of what you're doing out there and these patterns and the ball choices and how to play them that the game has really moved forward a lot in that regard, I feel like.
Agreed. And I love how Rudy's bringing up the fresh at Verapapa, Garden City. Man, I one of my best favorite tournaments to talk about is that run I made at the Verapapa when I was younger. I lost to Patrick Allen in the Final Four. I'll never forget that match. Anyway, all right, Mike. Well, you want to get to the awards? I think we ran the ladder. It was a 9-man ladder. I think we did okay. So we're going to go through our tournament awards. Let's talk about, I think Spare Shooter is going to be an easy one. I think we probably have the same. It could be two different people, but I'll start. I have to give the Spare Shooter award. I have to give it to Ryan Barnes for missing 2 spares in a title match for a major. And let's be clear, shooting the 2-4-8 on that pattern is not an easy task, okay? They're pros and they're best in the world, and they should make those type of spares in that type of situation. But with the shorter patterns and you hooking it, all you have to do is cut it short a little bit, and you're going to miss. And if you leak it right, the ball has a chance of just not hooking. So it's a very tough spare. But ultimately, he has to win the Spare Shooter award, Mike.
It's got to be Nick Pate.
Oh, for the spares he missed. Yeah, but I mean, Ryan's was in such a critical time in a title match for a major, right? Like,
fair.
Okay. You go next. What do you want to go? Your shot.
I see you, Hoss.
Go ahead.
There's only one.
All right.
It's easy. That's why we could get out of the way. It's Ethan Fury.
Yeah, I gave Ethan Fury a different award, so I didn't give him my CU Haas.
Okay.
I gave it to Kevin McCune.
Okay.
Ran the ladder yesterday and made it to the show today, which was no easy task.
Yeah, he's a major champion already. I could have lived with Keplinger. I could have lived with TJ Rock.
I did honorable mention to have him.
Okay, I could have lived with Ryan Barnes there, but
yeah,
McCune, he's got a major title already, so everybody's seeing him coming. Yeah, he ain't sneaking up on anybody. So
I was surprised though that he was able to run the ladder yesterday. I was. He beat Belmo and Simo, doing it. So okay, let's ride with.
Oh.
I'm riding with Ethan Fury, and it's probably going to be a very peaceful, quiet ride because my guy's probably going to be taking a nap in the front seat. He loves to sleep. Talked about it. Buy a new bed. He was all about to sleep. A 20-year-old kid. Remember when you were 20? I remember. Man, I love my sleep too, Ethan. I'd sleep till God knows what hour in the afternoon after being up at night, but he's probably going to sleep through our whole ride, Mike. I'm probably going to be having a quiet ride to the TOC.
Most likely. Yeah, most likely, no doubt. Right. I'm gonna ride with Tim Foy because while things didn't ultimately go his way today, there's really only one event left for the season, really, right? And he's had a great year. I mean, if you're Tim Foy, you're happy the whole way home.
What a year he's having.
Right? You're happy. You're like you're driving to the last couple stops. You are in a good mood. You are in a good mood. You know, it ain't about and it goes beyond the money. It goes beyond the financial aspect of it. It goes beyond all that, right? A guy who previous to this year was a part-time bowler with a full-time job, okay, is now, could say he had one of the better years on the PBA professional tour. I mean, that's got to be a great feeling. Yeah, that's got to be amazing. So, like, I'm riding with him just because the vibes are good. The vibes are good no matter what. There's no bad vibes in that car.
Let's put it like this. My guy, Tim, is bowling against players who have been full-time professional bowlers on a national tour for years. Some of these guys, 10, 15 years. And he's beating 95% of them.
Every week.
Every week. He was a full-time prison guard and was part-time and now is beating all of them. So for somebody to go do that, it shows just how talented he is. And given the opportunity and the chance, he ran with it. And I'm really happy for him. I really want to see the tour stay, everything next year. We don't know what the cards are going to play out for next year. But, man, like, I agree. Like, what a year. He could finish dead last. Is he able to bowl TOC?
I don't know what the situation is this year. They've changed it so many times. I didn't look to see exactly who's eligible or if there's a PTQ, but I'm not sure. Tim, if you're still here and you want to comment on whether you can bowl this week or not, or whether you're in the field, let us know. But yeah, definitely ride him with. That's a good ride with. I feel like.
Okay, so I'll tell you who I'm not riding with. And I could have picked a lot of people, but we haven't talked about this person. I'm not riding with Boog. Boog missed match play by 7 pins after bowling all of those games. And that's got to be hard. But if I did ride with Boog, I would probably give him a lot of shit about that match with Bill going all those Brooklyns.
Okay, people saying that Tim has to bowl the PTQ this week, but
man.
Can we bet on him? Can I bet on him to make it through the PTQ? Can we bet on that, Bet Rivers? Can we get odds on that? Be like minus 600. I'm not riding with Arturo. Okay, because seldom do you see Arturo's name at the top of the standings. Okay. And this week, I didn't watch a lot this week. I really didn't. I was very busy. But every time I popped on PBA.com to look at the standings, it was like, oh, Arturo. There's 9 guys making the show this week. We are gonna get Arturo on the show. Pins carry over. Mans is locked in and whacking them. He had some wild outfits on this week. I did watch a little bit, and his outfits were just off the hook the days that I saw him bowl. And I thought, this is what we need. We need Arturo making a run to a TV show that has 9 guys. And then the next thing you know, drops down. And I just, I mean, that's got to be so hard. Like, because Rob, as a competitive bowler yourself, you know that at some point in that tournament, after he was done a block, after he was out at dinner, you know what he's thinking. You know what he's thinking. He's thinking,
my tournament.
This is my week. This is it. This is it. I've struggled all year. This is it. I'm making the run. I'm getting on the show. I'm going to get this done. It's tough.
And he's experienced. He's not a new. This guy isn't a like new player on tour. He's got experience. He's bowled for a lot of tournaments for a lot of money under a lot of pressure. And I think Arturo on the show would be very interesting and entertaining. I don't know he's going to be like PBA League interesting because he's able to like really show emotion because of the team event. But I'd really like to see him on a single show to see like
we've seen him on a single show once or twice. I feel like,
and
he was bringing kind of the same vibe. I'll take it a step further. I need to see Arturo bowling for 100 Gs. That's what I need to see because I think my man will let it come out. I do. I think he would let it come out. I think we'd hear a lot of phrases in his native language. I think there'd be a lot of celebration after the second shot of a back-to-back. So yeah.
I'd like to see him bowl like someone like Packy for 100 grand, right? Like some that would be a really fun match to watch. Turo. Well,
all right, dumpster diving.
Oh, I got a whole list of lefties, Mike.
Oh, I'll exclude the lefties this week.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. There is no. I am not giving passes to the lefties this week.
My dumpster diving award this week is going to go to AJ Chapman.
Okay, I didn't see his name when I was dumpster diving.
AJ Chapman, 135th.
Man. Yeah, he's struggling, I think, at this point. Like he's struggling. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. He throws the ball great. The kid's physical game is really fun to watch. I just think he needs to like figure it out, and get comfortable, whatever. I got Kevin Williams. I got Packy. I got Dio Bernard. I got Stipich. I got Butters. I got Cam Crow. I mean, our guys are finishing. That's all below like 120th and below. I think Kevin Williams was like in the 140s. I think Packy and Dio were in the 140s, 130s. I mean, Mike, it was 190 players. I'm naming some of the best lefties on the planet, right? I mean, we talked about Packy and Buttriff, and these guys are top players in the world, finishing in the mid 130s and 140s. That's how bad the left was, Mike. But I mean, no passes here on Sweep the Rack. That's what it is. Dumpster diving.
All right. Is that it?
I think that is it. Try to think if there's anything else I want to talk about, but no, we could go through worst of the week, and then we'll kind of rope in some of the other things I want to talk
about. Mike Flanagan's always here to pick up on the little nuances of our show. Are you calling me a hater, Flanagan? Is that what you're saying? Are you calling me a hater, bro? Listen, I just went through the list. And excluded a lot of the lefties and names I didn't recognize. Okay.
I did. All right, Mike, you ready to roll?
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Mine's going to be a quicker one this week. So there was a post on the Bowling Science Forum. Congratulations. This was sent to me by an anonymous source. I don't reveal names unless it's specifically told I could. To Jacob M. Watson. Jacob M. Watson. Congratulations on Worst of the Week this week. If you know him, if you see him, congratulate him. Give him a high five when you see him. Pat on the back. It's a very elite group that he's in. His post is, If you throw a 300 with your spare ball, should it count? I'm not
Throw a
really.
300 with your spare ball, it'll count for double.
I don't. I mean, that just post shows you the lack of education sometimes in our sport, Mike. But for you have to ask that question, then you shouldn't be in a bowling science forum. Like, it's probably not a forum you should be in. But that's my worst of the week.
All right, mine comes from the official, unofficial Pro Bowling Facebook page. And this post is by Craig Kisrow. Craig, congratulations.
Oh, I know Craig.
Do you?
I do know Craig, yeah.
Really? Oh,
I
okay.
do, yeah.
I just gave worst of the week to someone you actually know. That's funny.
I know a lot of people, Mike. I'm a very popular guy in the bowling world.
He says, just wondering, was it camera angle or did the grips on Ryan's global ball need to be trimmed?
People are worried about crazy shit these days, I swear.
What is this, like golf? We're going to sit at home and try and find minuscule rule violations, call the PBA, tell him, oh, his grips are sticking out of his ball a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't let my brother Jeff trim your inserts because we've seen his ball and what it looks like after he trims his inserts. Sorry, Jeff, putting you on blast, but it's true. All right, Mike.
Let's wrap it up. All right, there's only one final thought tonight, Rob.
Well, actually, I'm going to let you go in that final thought because I'm going to use this as a chance to talk about something else.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I thought we were on the
I'll go
same
first.
page.
I'll go first, and then I'm going to let you talk about your final thought. My final thought is I'm going to talk about the Ernie Schlegel, Randy Peterson video that was shown. And I put us on Twitter, and every time I watch that clip, I can't get enough of Ernie Schlegel's reaction to that Stone 8. That, in my opinion, is the number one best reaction, emotion, or a clip of bowling in the history of bowling.
Better than Who Do You Think You Are, I Am.
It is 100 times better than Who Do You Think You Are, I Am, because of the fact that Randy is on the floor, on the approach.
Fetal position.
Fetal position. And Ernie Schlegel is yelling, Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. I'm the greatest.
I can't believe it. And
I think at one point he says, I can't believe he didn't see it. I can't believe it. Because I guess he was insinuating that the rack was off a little bit, and there was if he would have looked, he would have re-racked.
Well, the funny part of the video, if you watch it closely, is Ernie actually tripped an 8-pin out in his strike. It was the last pin to fall, right? And then Randy goes up. But I put a tweet out that said, like, we need those type of reactions more in the PBA world. And people will hate me for it because you have to be honorable and you have to show good sportsmanship. But the raw emotion of it and everything that played out on that video clip, for me, PBA would have better ratings if more of that happened. And then obviously, after all of it's said and done, you shake hands, right? I mean, you show sportsmanship after, of course, right? I mean, you watch a lot of these UFCs, right? I watched the pay-per-view last night, and you have like someone like Patty the Baddie, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. That's this guy, he's a beast, right? I mean, charisma, dancing, yelling, I believe he's an English guy, and just, chanting, Patty the Baddie. And then, annoying as hell, talking shit, but he gets into the ring, serious face. No more joking around, it's game time. Beats the crap out of Chandler, and then after the fight, he's back singing, he's dancing, right? Shakes his hand. But like that's the kind of shit that we need in the sport. And dude, watching that Ernie Schlegel video, dude, gets me hype watching it. And man, what a dick. Like Schlegel, what a dick. But man, what an amazing moment in bowling.
But is that fair to say? Like the guy just got caught up in the moment. Like I don't really think it means that he's a bad guy or that he was purposefully trying to be a bad sport about it or rub it in. The guy just won a major title on a Stone 8. Like he's in complete disbelief. You know, he's losing his mind. It's just that's what is amazing about it.
Dude, that's what Bolero needs to do. You want to sell bowling to a network? Put on the clip from the 90s of Ernie Schlegel. I can't believe it. Muhammad Ali is
It is. It's good. It's good.
All right, Mike.
And to think you called Schlegel a donator.
I mean, look at his history of how many tournaments he bowled and how many titles and cashes he had.
The other awesome thing was that he had a Band-Aid on his nose. I remember that. He had a Band-Aid.
It was for breathing. It was for breathing.
Breathe right strip on.
Oh, what an amazing!
He was like old. I remember watching that show. Like, man, this guy, he's just like finding a way to survive. You know?
The video, his wife, like encouraging him, and he's yelling. Oh my god, I love that. That is my favorite bowling clip of all time.
I agree, man. I agree. They would be well served to have some matches that end with that kind of reaction from the players.
Oh. You know? And people are so scared to be the bad guy these days. Nobody wants to be the heel. There's only a few guys who I could see doing some, but even those guys are just so scared of all the fallback and negative talk that people would give to them, like, oh my god, his sportsmanship and this and this and that. Like, people are so scared of the fallback online on social media when someone, could you imagine today in today's social media age if Ernie or somebody did that, winning on the bench? People would be, all these old heads and all these people like today would be so defensive. Oh my god, he's such a this, he can't believe he did that, show sportsman, what a bad this, and here I am laughing myself, like what an entertaining clip. And people, there's a reason why people still talk about that clip decades after it's happened.
No doubt. All right, Rob, we're going to wrap it up. We hope the people enjoyed being here with us.
What's your final thought? You got an important one to talk about.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even get my final thought. I'm sorry. PBA Hall of Fame ceremony, man, for our boy. Friday. We'll both be in the building.
We are both going to be there.
We'll both be there. I don't know if they're showing it on Bowl TV or not. I don't know what the plan is there. I haven't asked. But I will say, if they are showing it, tune in. Listen to,
so you're doing the intro for Bill.
I am. I wasn't nervous about it until I heard Randy today say that, or yesterday on the show, he said that he's been to 40 of these, and he's never been asked to intro someone. And Friday will be the first time he's doing it. And I was like, wow, like
you're
Randy
1 for 1.
Never introed somebody, and I'm getting that shot. Like that made me a little nervous, but all good, all good.
So real quick though, on that point, it'll be a very interesting Hall of Fame dinner for a few reasons. Okay, one, this is the first time in 6 years of doing this podcast that me and you will be together in the same place at a bowling event, right? I've seen you before outside of the bowling center. We went to dinner. We've caught up, whatever. But we've never been in the bowling center. We've never been to a PBA tournament. We've never been anywhere together. And why I'm saying that's interesting is because there's going to be a lot of people that we continuously speak about on a week-to-week basis at this dinner that is going to see us high levels of the professional bowlers, those people, right? A lot of pros, a lot of old pros that we probably have interviewed, and it's going to be really interesting. On top of that, this whole TV deal looming, right? Which we'd be curious to see what the atmosphere is going to feel like. And then you have the whole vape thing going on because, obviously Rash is going into the Hall of Fame and Belmo is going to be there. So I can't imagine them going to be really like sitting at the same table. If I was Tom Clark, I might seat them next to each other just for laughs and see like how that plays out. But that's gonna happen. But it'll be a great show Sunday if we are gonna go on air Sunday, because if Bill does make the final show of this TOC, there's a chance that I don't know, we have to talk about it, but me and you might be at the show. Like we might stay. I might stay if Bill makes the show. That would be interesting too. Me and you in the crowd sitting watching. I guarantee you it'll be super hype if that was the case. It would be. Hopefully, they put us in the front row over where the bowlers are, and people.
Like in the NCAA tournament, basketball tournament, where, like you have the 5 guys on the court and they're the ones playing the game, but then you have like the bench guys, and the bench guys like. Their guy shoots a 3, makes it there like on the sidelines, like firing off arrows. That's what it'll be like if me and you are in the crowd for a Bill O'Neill appearance on the show.
And Mark is asking if we'll have a sign. I don't know, maybe if I have time to go and make a sign and get something like actually done. I'm not creating my own sign; it's going to look terrible. But we'll
have the kids make signs. I'll have the kids make signs.
We'll make signs, but it could be a crazy show if Bill makes it. We should all root for Bill to make it because Bill has a huge contingency at this dinner. Like I talked to him, I'm like, dude, how many people you got? And he's like, between the kids and the family and friends, if everybody stays to watch the show and he's on it, it would get wild. And I guarantee you'll see some energy that we will pump that energy into that crowd for sure. But I'm excited to hang out. I get to see you for a while. It's been a while. And I'm actually going to be hanging out with Fagan because Fagan is actually coming in too. So I get to catch up with him. There's a lot of old friends. PJ, Butler. Yeah. We get to see a lot of friends. It's going to be a pretty cool one day. We get to day and a half we get to spend.
Yeah, so I'm actually planning on going out Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm off this week. I'm on spring break this week. So, I'm planning on rolling out of here early Wednesday morning and getting there Wednesday afternoon because I'd like to watch some qualifying and hang out an extra day and watch a little bit more bowling and whatnot.
Nice. I wish I could. could.
So if anybody that regularly tunes in here, if you're showing up and you're in the building Wednesday, Thursday, definitely say what's up. Definitely let us know. Say what's good. We appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us tonight. It was a really good 2 shows over the weekend. Congrats to Ethan Fury again. Just crazy to see these young guys come out and just be able to compete at this level so consistently. So many examples of it, right? Maybe not so consistently. I don't mean one guy consistently, but I mean multiple guys who have been able to come out and compete at these types of levels. We thank everybody for joining us. Get your merch at InsideBowling.com.
Look at this shirt.
Use code Patch Pirate. 15% off, code Patch Pirate.
Look, we got a new dumpster diving shirt. I got to order mine. Can't wait to get that.
Roger's asking me what kind of pie I want. I'm partial to blueberry, I want to say.
Blueberry?
Yeah.
Man, you're crazy with blueberry pie. You're as crazy as thinking you could beat me in golf, Mike.
With some vanilla ice cream,
Oh no. It's all about the apple or cherry. All about it.
All right, hit it up on social media. Hit us up on social media. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. I'm at the 215th. We don't know what our next show will be. We will update the people as the week goes on and we get a clearer picture of what we're doing. And again, if you're free Friday night, or even if not Friday night, I'm sure they'll post it and archive it. Don't be afraid to check out the introduction ceremony. I'm sure I can promise there will be a few enjoyable moments. So, everybody, thank you for joining us. Take it easy. We'll see everybody next week.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.